This show was recorded live by BBN, Boston Neighborhood Network in Boston, Massachusetts. All rights reserved.
Hello, and welcome to Urban Empowerment Today. I'm filling in for your host, Deborah Shariff. I am Dr. Raymond Youngblood Jr., founder, chairman of Youngblood Industry, an international mining company. And here today, we're going to discuss wealth generation, wealth building, and everything that's associated with currency and money. Today in the studio with me is a team of people who not only believe in a system of building wealth, but is also very excited to be here to discuss what goes on inside of Youngblood Industries. We have so many different things going on. You will never believe that a mining company can do some of the things that we're doing around the world. But here, we're going to make it very simple for you. We're going to talk about the ins and outs, the pros and cons. We're going to talk a little bit about fiat. We're going to talk a little bit about what it takes to be successful. We're going to talk a little bit about the hybrid currency that we created. We're going to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency, digital currencies around the world, and how you can help yourself in what we're doing and for you, your family, your community, and so on. So let me first start by introducing everybody and give you a very quick background on them, because I want to spend a lot more time with them discussing things and letting you hear what goes on inside. So you have an inside scoop with this team. And to give you a quick background of this entire team, this team is what we refer to inside Youngblood Industries as corporate activists. And a corporate activist is someone who does things on behalf of the company. But you have a little bit more power today with these folks, because these folks are all over Youngblood Industries in different categories: lead corporate activists, training, administration, and so on. So let me first start to my left, and I'm going to go right. Remember, I'm Dr. Youngblood, and the first person I'm going to introduce you to is Antoine Smith. Antoine?
How you doing, Dr. Youngblood?
I'm doing well. How's everything with you?
Everything is great.
Okay. So a little bit about Antoine. Antoine was one of the first people I reached out to be a part of this. Antoine and I have some history together in raising investment. He has also been a very big, intricate part of Youngblood Industries in the past. And Antoine has been one of the most instrumental people in help raise funding. He founded a company with a couple of friends and his brother, Smith Investments, and that's Antoine. Now, let me give you a simple part of Antoine. You would never think that Antoine is a barber with the resume I just gave you, but he's one of the best I've ever sat in his chair. And one thing you have to understand and know about a barber is everybody sits in their chair. Correct. Every guy wants a nice, clean haircut, right? We know how it is, right, fellas?
That's right.
You can get your haircut, but if the lining ain't right, you ain't right.
You ain't
okay?
right at all.
Also sitting to my left is Deidre Thurmond. Deidre has been one of the biggest assets to what we're doing. She operates and runs what we call administration. Deidre, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. And you?
Oh, can't complain. I can't complain.
Good.
Don't look at her sitting here modest, y'all. Okay? Deidre is a founder and executive of Mission Squad Music. She owns and runs a record label based out of Kansas City, Missouri. She has some of the most dynamic talent that you will ever come across. Very young, very energetic, very up-and-coming artist. And she's also one of the key people inside Youngblood Industries. To my right, this guy and I have some extremely long history. His name is William Mathis. Now, you see I hesitated because sometimes we all call him Shatik, okay? So I try not to call him Shatik. I try to call him by his mother's given name, which is William Mathis. William, for those of you, you've met him in the past, he's been on the radio show with me. William is one of the most renowned contractors based out of Washington, D.C. Bathroom, kitchen, living room, total building remodels. I've seen his work firsthand. I've been a part of his work firsthand. When I'm talking about a premier contractor and builder, investor in houses, real estate, commercial, you're talking about William Mathis. William, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I can't complain. So how are things up there? Is it Washington, D.C. that's up there, right?
Washington,
Yeah, down
DC.
there. Yeah, Washington, D.C. Is it down there?
Yeah, south of where we are now here in Boston. But things are going well. Washington, D.C. is experiencing a real estate boom right now, and the market is doing quite well for itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're very fortunate, very happy with the way things is going. It's a very profitable time for us as contractors. The real estate market is booming, and everyone's happy right now.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. I know William has had some people trying to get a hold of him since he's been here in Boston. So he's a very hot commodity right now. So I also want to introduce to you, to the right of myself and William, is Marcia Robinson. Now, I have to say that name real slow, and let me tell you why. You're talking about somebody with a lot of energy, very energetic, extremely talented. As a matter of fact, there's this thing that we wrote called a white paper, and that white paper was confusing the heck out of people. And Marcia picked up the phone one day and she said, hey, you, we need to make this thing simple so all of us can understand it. I don't even think you understand everything in that white paper. Marcia has been very instrumental. She's very good when it comes to developing and understanding people. She's very good in wanting people to communicate properly, get along properly. She is a no-nonsense person, but a very on-task person. And let me introduce you to Marcia Robinson. Marcia, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I can't complain. So how's the big KC when you left there?
It's good. It's wonderful. Temperature was kind of gloomy for us. We had rain, but other than that, KC is KC.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep us alive out there.
Okay, all right. I believe that. I believe that. You know, they got Kansas City got some bragging rights with the barbecue there. Yeah. Okay. So and then last but not definitely least, you're talking about somebody who really can get the team up and going, motivated, can interject a sense of energy and urgency with people like no other. You're talking about somebody who's been around for a while. He's been in the gold game for a while. He's been in the business of dealing with brokers and contractors and all these things. You're talking about somebody who really understands international business. You're talking about Darryl Wright. And let me give you something. I've known Darryl now for a while, and one of the things that I've always admired about Darryl is I have never known a day for Darryl when things are gloomy. Darryl is always going to find something bright about a way to move forward. And then, you know, he has a way with words, too. So y'all watch him here a little bit coming up. So, Darryl, how's everything?
Everything is great. Happy to be here. Happy to be amongst these brilliant people and yourself.
You see what I mean? See what I mean? First thing out of his mouth is brilliant people. Okay. So let me say something to the audience. You're probably not that familiar with this type of cask. Let me just be honest. I know you're not familiar with a gold miner. So I know you're not familiar with a gold miner and this group of people. But let me say something. When you're talking about dynamics, and you're talking about structure, and you're talking about energy and intelligence, I could have not assembled. I will put this team up against anybody on this planet. And you're talking about somebody who visited 200 countries. You're talking about somebody who's in the Rolodex of presidents. I don't have to call the presidents call me. I'm not joking when I tell you this. I'm not boasting when I say this. I'm not trying to be egotistical when I say this. I'm talking about brilliant, smart, concerned people about what's going on. They don't care if you're black. They don't care if you're white. They don't care what you are. What you are is you just have to be wanting to be a part of something. You just have to be dynamic with something. And I have two other members in studio who are behind the camera, Kai Sharif and Professor Sharif, who I don't even know what to say about. Let me just say this. All of us wouldn't be on air if it wasn't for the two of them. If that's not enough said, I don't know what else to be said about it. So our hat goes off to them. And at one point in time, it's something weird about somebody who love to film other people, but they don't like to be on TV. And both of them don't like to be on TV. But they're excellent filmmakers and producers and writers and so on. So just know that they're there behind the scenes. So guys, let's talk a little bit. The first thing I want you to talk about is I want you to talk to the audience a little bit about your experience. Let's keep everything around money. Let's not be afraid to talk about it. Let's not be afraid to talk about why poor people still poor, and let's not be afraid to talk about why rich people still rich, and why some people want to be rich but can't be rich. Let's talk about that. Let's just open the conversation up a little bit, and we can go from there. Anybody got any thoughts on it? Marcia, please.
I started most definitely, and it starts with education. Mm-hmm. That's why poor people are still poor. Mm-hmm. It's a simple lack of know. Mm-hmm. Prior to me joining this organization, I didn't know as much about money. And as simple as it may seem, most people don't. Most of us who grew up in a particular class, particularly the urban or metropolitan areas, they don't know about money. We know how to spend money, because that's where the teaching came. We know how to spend our money. A lot of us spend our money on great things, but we don't know about saving. We don't know about investments. We don't know about, stocks and things of that nature. So that's my reason why people are poor.
Okay. And we tend to always invest in the same thing over and over and over, right? So, anybody else got some thoughts on that? That's very powerful.
Yeah, I think if I could piggyback on what Marcia just stated, I think it also has a lot to do with opportunity. Sure, we may live paycheck to paycheck. We take the few dollars that we have at the end of the week to pay the few bills that we have, but we also need to understand there are other opportunities out here that we need to know about, such as what we have with Youngblood Industries, YGB, having a product, a tangible product of gold, affixed to the cryptographic form of the binary code, okay, being able to participate in the future.
William, some people are gonna be scared of that, man. You going way over the heads right now.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to go over anyone's head with it, but the reality is we are living in a different time. Digital currency, it's here. Yeah. This is the world in which we're living in now. So again, it goes back to piggybacking off of what Marcia just stated. If you don't know about opportunity, then you can't participate.
That's powerful.
Yeah, you have to know that something's out there for you. And if you don't know, then you can't be blamed for it. Yeah.
I would like to say, to go with what William's saying about opportunities, you also have to be able to have an open mind to know when opportunity is knocking right at your door. Exactly. And not to pass it by. Yes. Yeah. Because I think that's part of the problem too. A lot of people have the opportunity right there and they just pass it by for whatever reasons, whether they don't trust the opportunity, whether they don't believe in the opportunity, or whatever the case may be, they just pass it by. And so that's why some people are still in the situation they're in.
There's an old saying that an opportunity is always taken up by somebody. You the one who just passed by it, So Antoine, growing up on that, in the grind of Chicago, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, to be honest, it also has a lot to do with the type of people that you're surrounded around. Absolutely. So they're saying you become a product of your environment. If you're saying, well, me, for example, coming up in Chicago, the only successful people I saw was drug dealers. Drug dealers and criminals. The individuals that was working hard every single day was still struggling. So for me and my family, we grew up poor. My mother did the best that she could do, that she knew how to do. But we still experienced hardship. And she did a great job, but she didn't have the education. No one showed her the importance of money, how to make money.
She didn't know how to pass it on.
How to pass, that's right, that's right. So, it was a struggle, and it would cause you to put yourself in a very uncomfortable situation that you have to clean up later on in life.
Darryl, with a topic like this, I can't pass you by, man. What are your thoughts?
This is just such an important question, because one thing that we lack is knowledge about not only just opportunity, but just knowledge of just how to be able to be a part of the financial ecosystem of the world. And unfortunately, there's, just the few that control the many, and those that, the most of us that have no control over anything are always powerless to come up, if you will, or to get that opportunity. What Youngblood Industries represents is an opportunity.
Correct.
We're never first at anything. I mean, most startups, when they begin, you have to be lucky. Like we were lucky. If it had not been for Dr. Youngblood to reach out to us and say, hey, I got this opportunity, and I want you to be a part of, we wouldn't be here.
Correct.
And so you have to be able, as Diedre said, when the opportunity comes, to be able to take the opportunity. And internationally, it's the same way. It's still just a few controlling the many. And I think that what Youngblood Industry represents more than anything is that opportunity for everyone in the world to be able to participate in their own, not just financial growth, but self-development.
That's right.
Yeah, I like that.
That's right.
When I think about our team, 36 countries, 6 continents, we got everything you can think of: Muslim, Christian, Hindu, atheist, Buddhist, you name it, we got it. I got some people, I don't know what they are. I don't know whether they're black or white. I have no clue what they are. And here's the thing. I will pick up the phone and call them in a heartbeat if I need some type of information, because what I'm interested in is their genius. What I'm interested in is their ability to promote. What I'm interested in is their ability to want to be on a team. And so these some of the things that some people can think about. It just doesn't even come into my mindset. And genuinely, I want us to feel, to be welcoming of everybody, because when I was a little boy growing up in Louisiana, and some of us, I have a story similar to Antoine, similar to some of y'all at this table, we were poor, man. When I say poor, I'm not talking about P-O-O-R poor. I'm talking about P-O. P-O poor. That's all we could afford. Couldn't even afford the O and the R to be added on to be called poor. We wasn't even living in poverty. We were just living. And one of the things I noticed was, and I never recognized this until I went off to college, was how many people that saw us living in those conditions that could have did something about it, and they did absolutely nothing. They go to the best churches, they wore the best clothes, they preach the best, they can quote scripture from the Bible, the Quran, and everywhere, but yet they walk right by us knowing we had not eaten that day. And when I got older, I said, one of the things I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna do that. I don't care where the person is. If you hungry, everybody can eat from Raymond's table. And that thing stuck with me from now to the Bush, to the miners, to everybody. So with that said, I want to transition our conversation just a little bit. And I want you to talk about something with you that really matters to you in building people and building a sense of not just financial wealth, but moral wealth, ethics, a sense of diversity, a sense of unification. And what are your thoughts?
Well, if I could add to the conversation, I think the growth that I've received over the years, being in business for myself, is being responsible enough and understanding that there are men and women out here who rely on me to earn a paycheck at the end of the week. So, being in business for yourself as a contractor, there's a lot of challenges that I'm able to overcome 99% of the time. And the 1% of the time when I'm not able to overcome the challenge, then I don't really worry about it that much, because I know that I'm giving it my all. But
you ever had a time when you couldn't make payroll and you didn't know where it was going to come from?
Yeah, actually, there was a time when I couldn't make payroll for 13 weeks. A long time ago, and it seems like yesterday. But I didn't panic. I didn't worry about it, because It was more about taking care of my workers, making sure that they could feed their families. And I also understood that 13 weeks, then, I didn't know it was 13 weeks then, it was just a matter of week after week. But I also understood that at some point I'll overcome this, and when my turn comes around, then I'll be able to enjoy it. But right now it's about taking care of my team.
Your team ate before you ate.
My team eats before I eat. I'm the last one to eat.
The last one to eat,
Yeah,
that's right.
the last one.
Deidre?
Mine is more of, I guess, like a testimony, but encouragement as well. You know, I know what struggle feels like. I didn't really experience that so much coming up as a kid, but I have experienced it in my adult life as a parent, and it was all due to my health failing me. And
Which is happening real big right now in America.
yes, yes. And so, I mean, it was to the point where I felt like I was hitting rock bottom, something I'd never seen before. I went from several checking accounts and savings accounts to nothing, you know. And so with that being said, I always just like to try to encourage people to never give up, and be you. It's okay to be yourself, but be the best you. Figure out what the best you is. And when I say don't give up, that means you can be whatever it is that you want to be. No matter what's going on around you, no matter what has happened in your life, just keep moving,
Keep going.
and you'll get there.
Okay. Darryl?
Yeah.
You know, this is, I was just thinking when she was talking about, the struggles of your life. And I didn't have any struggles when I was a child. We weren't poor, but we didn't have money, but we weren't poor. I only became poor when I became an adult, through failure, through, trying things and failing. And I know what it's like to sleep in my car. I know what it's like to not have heat. But those things are just things to me, because there's nothing that will ever keep me from being or doing what it is that needs to be done to get back. The biggest lesson that I've learned in my life is that in a world where it seems that everybody's a predator, and I learned this because I had a mortgage company, and in 2008, when the bubble burst, everything was gone, my houses, everything. And what I learned, more importantly, the reason why I couldn't sustain those things during that period was because I was doing everything by myself. And that's the thing about, what my life has been. I've had a lot of trust issues, and I think we've all kind of gone through that. And if you're ever going to win, you have to have people around you, people that you trust, people that can keep you upright when you're faltering. And that's the beauty of Youngblood Industries. It keeps you upright because you know that you have people that you can lean on, and you're not alone. And then we have this thing where we want to do everything by ourselves because, we don't need anybody. It's not true. I've had it all a couple of times and I've lost it all each time. And so what I know now, more than anything, is the biggest lesson for me is that I need to have people around me that can hold me up.
Okay. I like that. Antoine, when you think about what they have said, and you think about just have this in mind. You have one piece of advice to give somebody, okay? And this is the number I'm going to give you. I'm going to tell you what that number is tied to. The number is 31,390. Right now, that number doesn't mean anything to you. Zero. 31,390. You probably seen him talking to a gold miner. You say, oh, he's probably talking about grams of gold or money. No. Let me tell you why that number means something to me. The average human being in the United States lives 31,390 days. Now that number means something to you. Now that got your attention. Because right now, you got some people sitting there trying to count all them numbers on their finger. You can't count all them numbers on your finger. But that number is very important. And if you knew that somebody knew that, 31,390, what would be the information you would give them? What would be the last piece of your advice?
Let me see how deep I want to dig. Well, I can only speak from my experiences. And my advice is that it's never over. It's never over. I don't care what you go through. Whatever it is, it's never over. And keep going, keep pushing. No matter what you did yesterday, tomorrow's a new day. And it all starts within here. Here, and then it comes out. So it's never over. That's because my life that's my testimony. I've been through so much adversity and been able to overcome it that I know it's never over.
Okay.
So Youngblood Industries has also given me that comfort to let me know it's never over. I keep pushing to be who I want to be each and every day.
Okay, I like that. Marcia Robinson, 31,390. All of Boston now. Some people upset with me for reminding them, but sometimes we need to be reminded that you have to live your life, and you have to have a certain amount of wealth in order to do that. So when I give that number, 31,390, and you have to give somebody the last piece of advice, what thoughts come to your mind?
There are so many. But I think the most important, and I can't move away from it, and maybe it's because I felt so undereducated my whole life. I'll tell a short story. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to high school. I started it, I went about a half of my freshman year or so, and life happened to me, to my family. It wasn't that I just walked away or just didn't want to go. I physically couldn't be there because I had to take care of a parent. So I didn't have a high school education. And I decided at about 19 years old, I was jolted out of my sleep. I didn't decide it. I woke up, something yanked me and was like, girl, because I was working and I was living a real life. It was like, girl, you don't even got a high school diploma, you don't got a GED, you got to do something about it. And I did. Right after that, I just began to want more. So I went to community college, and when I got there, I felt real dumb. I felt real dumb. And it wasn't on the academic level. I didn't feel dumb. I wasn't ready for anything. And it's because we get caught up in life. I was 16 years old, I was an adult. I've had my own home, I've had a full-time job since 16. We miss out because we have to grow up so fast. Education wasn't an option. Not at the time. It was either you gonna eat, you gonna live, or you gonna go to school. School wasn't that important. So education, we don't know that we don't even know. Right. Because you're taught to do your best. I was taught to be a good person. I didn't have a lot of behavior issues that were focused around morality decisions. I was taught how to be a good person, and I was taught how to be good to other people. I just wasn't taught about money. I wasn't taught about economics. I wasn't taught about savings. I wasn't taught about the intricate things that build you and grow you in this world. Left out, totally left out of my entire life until I was an adult. So learn. Read. Thank God I was a reader. I don't know where I would be if I didn't read. I've been reading since I was 5. Oh, wow. That was something I've always done, is read, and we don't read. I want us to read. I want us to learn. We're self-educators. We can teach ourselves anything.
You're actually your best teacher, isn't that what they say? You're your best teacher.
Right.
You know,
Best teacher.
My mother has a similar story, and one of the things I can remember her, other than saying to us, other than "get out my face," get outside before I hit you with something. Those are the things I heard the most. She wasn't educated, but it wasn't because she didn't want to. She also had to take care of her parents' parents, and she was forced to do it. And she regretted ever since. Every time I've talked to her about it, even now she's in her 60s, and she is still sore about not finishing high school. 60-something years old, and it still bother her. And so, but that's a person who wanted to achieve something, and just like you wanted to achieve something. And the difference now too is you actually right in the middle of doing it. You haven't even reached your prime yet. You're coming up on your prime, so you got a good head start. one of the things I want to say to young people is that no matter where you are, no matter how bad it done got, I promise you, I don't care who your parents are, because I got some parents right now that wish that I was their son, but back when I was in high school, they kids had everything and I didn't have anything. And now those kids who had everything is suffering, and now we kids who didn't have nothing, we seem to be climbing. And some of the parents say, oh, I wish my son could get it together like you. It's not about any of that, because if you really want something, if you truly, truly want it, you will get up and go get it, period. And Darryl said something that is so profound, I think. Stop trying to do everything by yourself.
Correct.
That's not the way to do it anymore.
Major.
The 1930s and 40s, that's gone. When one person can be a power entrepreneur and grow it, Bill Gates was not even the last of that era, because a lot of people like to use him as a reference point. Bill Gates surrounded himself with a lot of geniuses. There was more than Bill Gates that became a billionaire out of Microsoft. There's more than Mark Zuckerberg that became a billionaire out of Facebook, so on with Google, and so on. I can keep going and on and on and on. The era of trying to do it by yourself as an entrepreneur is over. Hook up with some good people. If you got somebody in your family who got a strong business, get behind them, jump behind them. Stop worrying about what they don't have.
Right.
If you so genius, then put that genius in there and help them have it. So with that said, I want us to transition to something else. I want us to talk a little bit about this cryptocurrency thing that's going on. And for those of you who don't know what cryptocurrency is, a cryptocurrency is simply a computer code that has value. Everybody have their own way about going how to get it. Some people have to figure out a mathematical equation. Some people generate that out of thin air. Some people have it where you got to combine this code with that code and figure this out. They have all types of ways on doing it. And it boils around this thing called a blockchain. And a blockchain is simply a community of people that agree that that code has value. And we can trade that code for money, for water, for milk, for cheese, for tires, for lawnmower, for house payments, to go to a game, whatever the case may be, we have it. And here's the thing. There's 2,000 companies that's doing it. So who is it that's going to be around to be able to do this? So I want the team to talk with you, because this team has become very diverse in areas of their own expertise, which we just talked about before. You heard a little bit about their own personal backgrounds, trials, tribulations, and successes. Now I want them to talk to you a little bit about cryptocurrency and where they think it's going. And let me say this to you, audience. Don't think that you have to see these people on blogs day in and day out to know where it's going. America is $18 trillion in debt. So who is the expert? The people that's currently building the debt, or the people who trying to reduce the debt? The people who building the wealth, or the people that's spending your wealth? I don't want nobody else to come to me and say, oh, you have to be this, you have to be that. The guy who told me only buy American brand was driving a Mercedes-Benz when he told me that. So I want you to think a little bit different. I'm not saying don't support America. Don't think that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is let go of some of the way them old dogs were telling us how to do stuff, and let us put things in play that work for us today, for now. And so with that said, anybody can kick it off. Cryptocurrency.
I'd like to start.
Right on, go ahead, right on,
if you don't mind. What's big about it, or what's important about it, is that no matter what, we're all going to be using it.
Correct.
You can run from it, or you can embrace it. It doesn't matter. You're going to be using it on some levels. What you don't want is to be last one using it.
For real.
That's why Youngblood Industries is so important.
Right about that.
Because we're the vanguard of what we offer, okay, which is that binary code affixed to our gold. Nobody else can do that. So you get a chance to be first and not last. That's very important. Also, it allows anyone, even my daughter, who now has an account. She's an investor in gold now. She's building a portfolio.
Good Great deal.
She's 16. That's the power of our hybrid. It allows everyone to participate in their own, not just financial development, but self-development. Her mindset changed now.
Right.
She doesn't want to spend her money on frivolous things like Five and Below and all of the stuff that she was doing. She wants to save her money so she can buy some gold now. And I think that that's why this is very important. Since we're the vanguard, since we're first, now everybody gets a chance to not have their financial future depending upon someone else. It can now be put in your own hands. You can afford to do it. If my 16-year-old can, she didn't get the money from me.
Right.
Anybody can. And I think that that's what's so important about what we offer, is that we give everyone a chance now. We've evened the playing field. Because generally, if you pour an ounce of water on a table, in the gold market, that represents $1,200 for an ounce. Who can afford to play in that game? What we've done is we've reduced it all the way down to where my daughter can now build a portfolio, an investment portfolio. And so I think that that's why this is just, it's the right time. While everybody else scurrying around trying to figure out what it is, it's time for us, being the vanguards, to let the world know, here's your chance. Here's your chance to now be able to control your financial future and not have to, fit into someone else's game. You can create your own game. Right. And I think that that's what makes what we have so powerful. While everybody's going to be trying to do it, they're going to be coming up with all kinds of things, connecting a chair to crypto, whatever.
You know something, and just to cut in, if you don't mind, you said something that I thought was very strong and powerful. You don't want to find yourself being the last one to the party. Right. Okay? And I think that's one of the issues that we're dealing with. And it's not a thing of black and white anymore. It's just people in general. The information is put in front of you, but for whatever reason, you ignore it.
Right.
How could you possibly ignore an opportunity, especially if it's about the wealth preservation of your well-being for the future and your family?
But that's just not with the hybrid. That's just not with the hybrid. That's with any opportunity, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think that's very important for the guests to understand. That's with anything that you want to do. I know a guy who sells used tires, and they call him Old Jimmy Lee. Now, why they put the word old in front of his name? I remember back when he was a young man, they called him Old Jimmy Lee. So, we country folks. So he passed recently. A lot of people were so unaware at how much money that man had and how many people owed him money, and all he did was sell used tires. That's it, nothing else. I remember one time I went to him, my dad is a truck driver, amongst some other things, and good and bad, y'all. And I told him, I said, I would like to invest in Jimmy Lee's business. I remember he said, my dad said, talk to him. I sat him down. I said, Mr. Jimmy Lee, yeah, Youngblood Jr. I said, how much money you would need to make this tire shop a little bit bigger? He scratched his head. I don't know, maybe $5,000-$6,000. I said, that's it? Oh, yeah, it don't take that much. I just need more money to buy more tires. I said, I'm going to put a business plan together for you, and then we're going to sit down and talk about it. I don't know about all that, Youngblood. You sound like you're a little too smart for me, man. I don't know if I can trust you. Guy who can write and all that stuff like you, I don't know. You just have to find your thing. And Jimmy Lee found his thing, and his thing was used tires. Up until the day he died, he didn't ask anybody for anything. People owed him money the day he died. And that's the thing. You have to find your thing. You have to find that thing that fits you. For us, it's been the hybrid. For somebody else, it may be used tires. For somebody else, it may be a barbershop. For you, and it doesn't have to be your business. It can be somebody else's business that you want to help grow, an auntie, an uncle, a grandparent, a cousin. Support somebody's stuff. Help them grow it. Participate. Right. Be involved with it. And you will start to see things trickle in. Money never stops. You have to remember that. It never stops. It's always 8 o'clock in the morning. And a similar day like Monday for us, in some country, on this planet, and you have to remember that. So, Diedre, Antoine, what's your thoughts on Marcia?
I think that, you know, don't just hear about something or you read about it, you see it, just like we're on here right now and people are listening, they're watching it. Don't just listen and watch. Go educate yourself about it. Go look it up.
Get active.
You know? Find out exactly what it is, you know. I mean, we can have the conversation here. I mean, we probably would need more time to really get somebody to fully understand what it is. But always just look into it. Don't turn your mind away from it. That's what I mean by open-minded. Actually look into it, you know. And we got a website, you know, www.youngbloodindustries.com. Go on there. We're a mining company. So look into it, you know, read up on it. Make sure you read the white paper. You know, you'll find out what it is, and you decide from there. That part about the educational is very important. Yeah.
So what we're really saying is don't get left behind.
Don't get left behind.
Don't get left behind.
Don't say you didn't know.
Yeah.
We're telling you so you know.
Yeah.
You know what our company reminds me of, or what it makes me think about? Every great invention or phenomenon. Remember when the computer first come out? A lot of people like, ain't nobody messing with that, that's the devil, and whoop the whoop, you know. People was anti-computer, don't let it happen. Right. They didn't embrace the computer. Right. They didn't embrace the cell phone. Anything that
airline
technology has, it's never been something that was warm welcome, so I'm not worried. I hope they listen. Don't be the last one, you know, to jump aboard, because then everything devalues after some time. I'm not saying that our hybrid will, but in theory, everything devalues when you're at the end of the line, getting on. We're giving everybody an opportunity to understand and learn. We're not, in my opinion, and when I talk about us, we're not selling anything.
Correct.
I'm not a saleswoman. I'm not trying to sell anyone anything. I'm trying to empower your life. I'm trying to change your life. I'm trying to give all of us something we've never had before, and that's not affixed to any color. We all need something that we've never had before, because we are not the small that control everything. The majority of us fit right there in the majority.
Right.
It's gonna happen, whether we want it to happen or not. That I know. I just hope more people accept it versus reject it, like what we've seen, you know, in history.
And check this out for a minute. Just think about this. One of the beautiful things about our product is that it's gold. We have the digital asset and we have a physical asset merging together. Okay, gold is currency in 24 karat form, right? So why wouldn't you want to take ownership of your own gold? Just think about it. Where else can you go and find 24 karat gold for $1? And you get a certain amount attached to it, and your dollar is automatically in more value once you put in the form of YGB. Where else can you get that?
Instant value.
Instant value.
Yeah. Today, not tomorrow.
Instant equity.
Yeah.
Instant equity. Here's the thing. It's an amazing feat. Sometimes I have to look at where I come from to where I am. 1.2 million acres of land. There is cities that's not built on 1.2 million acres of land. The ability, whether somebody buys anything, or whether they invest in anything, or whether they do anything, I still have to go to work, regardless. Then, to put that in perspective, I asked a group of people, say, hey, I'm gonna do this until the day God calls me home. So I'm gonna do this no matter what. Would y'all wanna be a part of it? Some folks that you see sitting here, nobody hesitated at all. Then I had some people who said, I don't know. They know me for 20 years, some of these people. And still, they hesitated. And one of the things, at first I thought, oh, you don't trust me. Then something else hit me. Fear. Fear of not being able to go past what they're normally used to. That's the thing that gets most people. And, you know, with what we're talking about today, wealth generation, wealth building, wealth participation, you know, in your own words, I want each one of you to kind of sum up if you're gonna leave. I know we talked about 31,390, and that number, by the way, that's a real number. I didn't just make that up. So you can go check the government website. Whether you believe in Obama with the old website or Trump with the new website, don't matter to me. That number is still 31,390. If you want more time added to that number, you got to change the way you do things. You have to want things to be better. If you want to take it to 391, that's up to you, or more, that's up to you. But you have to be willing to change that number. Where do you think the future of where we're going in this company? I'm sitting here as a chairman asking, that's a dangerous question on live TV. But I'm okay with it, because one thing I want y'all to remain is something that y'all have always been from day one, is genuine. So I want your honest opinion. I want the audience to know that if it's not pro Youngblood Industries, I'm okay with that. If it's pro Youngblood Industry, I'm okay with that. If it's somewhere in the middle, I'm okay with that. But the reason I'm okay with it, folks, is because it's genuine. And I will take any bit of information they got and add to it and build on it to make it even more powerful than what the statement is today, no matter what they say. So if they put it all the way up here, we still got to build on it. If they bring it all the way here, we still got to build on it. But these are folks that are on the inside. They are on the inside. They are the ones who are going up against the other cryptocurrencies that are out there, the other digital currencies that are out there. These are the folks that's doing it. These are the folks you don't see. These are the folks that you're not even thinking about. So if you're thinking about being a part of something, just think about these are insiders. And they're common people. Real quick.
Well, I'll go ahead and say something real quick here, and I'll tell you that if I had to say anything about where we are today, I can say that it's, I don't even know if I should even use the word scary, but knowing that I'm sitting in the driver's seat, I know where we're headed. When you look at an industry that one day is going to be, you know, 50, 60, $100 trillion as an industry, I'm not the guy sitting.
And you're not making that number up. That's the other professionals.
These are not my numbers. These are the numbers from the Wall Street guys.
Right.
Okay, and Wall Street didn't want nothing to do with this a few years ago. Now they're on the bandwagon.
Correct.
But one of the reasons that I'm so excited about being a part of Youngblood Industries and YGB is because I'm no longer the guy sitting on the sidelines trying to become a part of something. I'm already in the company. I'm inside. I'm not applying for a job at Corporate 500 America. I'm not walking in the lobby of some building going to human resources. We are it, okay? So when we talk about not wanting to be left behind, I'm not worried about being left behind because I am a part of this company. I am the company. We are the company. So when we say this is an opportunity for everyone to become a part of, this is a golden time for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else got a 30-second?
I have a 30-second.
Come on, let's see it,
You
please.
know what? It all is predicated on how an individual is set up. For me, what snatched me was I'm a community-driven person. I love people. And when you think about YGB, it's global. I get to connect with, I couldn't have ever woke up and dreamed that I would be sitting in the seat that I'm sitting in. And we want everyone else to be a part of it. We want everyone else to be empowered. It's lonely at the top.
It is.
You know
It
what
is.
I'm
It
saying?
is.
And it's hard to sit.
Heavy be the crown, right?
It's hard to
Just
sit
sit
in
on-
a room full of people you love with all your heart, and you can't share what you have and you have for them just simply because they don't understand what it is
That's
that you have.
Well, I would just like to say that, you know, the other side, the Bitcoins and the Ethereums and the Ripples of the world and all of the other cryptocurrencies that are out there, they're not sustainable in their current state. That's why they're falling off. You got the regulators are asking questions because they're looking like Ponzi schemes because there's nothing but the code.
Nothing but the code.
Nothing but the code. So if you're having everybody, and then one of the big reasons why it's faltering is because you got people that still have one foot playing in the fiat currency side and the other one in the code. And it's just not sustainable. That's what makes us different.
We have both.
We have the gold and we have the
We
code.
have the gold, we have the code.
And something even to add on top of that, Darryl, this is the strength. We have the ability to go and get it
Absolutely.
anytime we want. So, real quick, can you guys give us a 20-second?
I was going to say, you know, we're more than a cryptocurrency company or digital currency. We're a mining company, and so we have direct access to it, YGB. So nobody else has that. It's just us. So come with the winning team.
Okay.
All I want to say is God created the earth, and we have 30 million small-scale gold miners backing us up. That's it.
Truth and nail. I want to say thank you. I'm going to wrap it up here. Antoine Smith. Antoine Smith, the producers are giving me some info. Y'all know I'm a little bit new to the hosting part of it. So y'all out there in Boston, and I always want to say this. I'm gonna say this, man. Let me tell you something. The microphone can really make somebody crazy, man. All y'all out there in TV land, I always want to say that. I don't know why I always wanted to say that, but I always wanted to say that. Deidre Thurmond, William Mathis, Marcia Robinson, Darryl Wright, Kai Sharif, Professor Deborah Shariff. I just want to say to BNN TV, you guys have been so wonderful to us.
Thank you.
You have no idea.
Thank you.
You have no idea what it feels like to be considered the #1 gold miner on this planet, and not one single person wants to give you a platform. It's crazy. So with that said, we're coming in from Urban Empowerment Today with your normal host, Deborah Shariff. I'm Dr. Raymond Youngblood with Youngblood Industries signing off. www.youngbloodindustries.com. We out of here.